Welcome back to another episode of the Ball Don't Lie podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Fraser, with my co-host, Cam Connolly. And there wasn't much NBA going on this week. Hey, Cam?
No, the NBA Cup has ruined everything. I think that all fantasy leagues worldwide should just watch this week because it's not fair.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Like what we were talking about this, only two teams played more than one game this past week. It was the Knicks and the Raptors.
Yeah, I think the Suns also played 2 games, but other than
Okay.
that, it was like James Harden has 1 game this week. I just traded for James Harden. I'm screwing myself over.
Well, and we're gonna get into the NBA Cup, but like it's supposed to be this super exciting thing in the middle of the season and bring a lot of viewership, but I feel like having less games doesn't do that.
Yeah, and for a guy like me, the NBA Cup doesn't really move the needle for me. Like I'm not
Mhm.
gonna go out of my way to tune in. I've never watched the NBA Cup final just because I don't care, to be honest, who wins the NBA Cup. But yeah, it was a good idea, but I don't know, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, and as I said, we'll get into it a little bit more, but yeah, I agree with you. I do watch the finals, but it's probably the only game that I actually tune into, unless I'm watching like just throwing a game on kind of thing. Like I'm not actively searching for NBA Cup games specifically, other than the final when it comes around. But yeah, we'll get into that shortly, but we'll kick things off with our weekly recap. As I said, we'll get into the NBA Cup. Then we're going to dive into the OKC Thunder, and we'll skip our MVP, LVP this week just because there weren't many games, but we will still be doing our Canadian Hooper highlight. But let's get into our weekly recap here. So, first off, speaking of the NBA Cup, Victor Wembanyama is expected to return for Saturday's matchup against the OKC Thunder in the NBA Cup semifinals. Is there a real chance that he can be the difference maker and finally take down this juggernaut of an OKC team that only has one loss on the season?
If he's healthy and in his absolute rhythm, I would say that maybe he could, but he's not in rhythm. He's been sitting out for so long, and let's not pretend like OKC doesn't have a borderline Wemby of their own in Chet Holmgren. No matter what you have, OKC has a way to stop it. It's actually kind of crazy. I know we're going to get into that later. I don't think that Wemby will be able to stop this crazy OKC run, the best run since the Warriors. And what year was that now? 2016, when they were both
Yeah,
24 and one.
2015, 2016,
20,
somewhere around
yeah,
there.
but it's just ridiculous. But yeah, Wemby, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to change that. But I'm curious if you think that.
I mean, I he's such a difference maker, and I've talked about Wemby a ton, how much I love him. Obviously, I'm not breaking any news here that he's some superstar in the NBA, but I just feel like you're right. Like he's been sitting out for a little bit, and maybe there is some rust to be shaken off, but he's also just we've talked about him being an alien. Maybe he's one of those guys that just doesn't need a game to get back into rhythm. Like maybe he can be in rhythm right off the bat. So I think there's definitely the possibility that if anyone's capable of pulling off an upset against OKC, it's Victor Wembanyama. But that being said, it doesn't seem like anyone's really able to. So
Yeah,
I I don't know if I necessarily see him being a huge difference maker.
yeah, and this game it's going to be a good game, and I'm happy that Wemby's playing it. I cannot stress that enough. Just because I said what I said earlier, he makes such a difference for that Spurs team, and we haven't really seen a completely healthy Spurs team yet because
Mm-hmm.
Wemby got hurt right around when De'Aaron Fox came back, so we haven't seen them all firing on all cylinders. I mean, I think this is as of if the playoffs ended today, or the playoffs started today, I should say. Playoffs started today. I think that this could be the Western Conference Finals matchup. I think this might be a preview.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about that at the start of the year too. Like these are my two favorite teams to watch in the Western Conference right now, and so we talked about not really caring to tune into these NBA Cup games, but this is a game that I will be tuning into, not because it's the NBA Cup, but because this is an exciting matchup, and I think these are the two hottest teams on the come up. I guess OKC's not on the come up anymore, but they're on the come up in the sense that they're becoming this crazy dynasty that we haven't seen since Golden State or the Chicago Bulls back in the Jordan era. But yeah, I'm excited to see that matchup and glad that Wemby's back in the NBA because he's just so much fun to watch. But on the other side of things, another center, Derek Lively, season-ending injury. I think it's a surgery just to he had some discomfort in his foot, and so it's a surgery to correct that. But just with the way things have been going for the Dallas Mavericks here, and Derek Lively's a key piece to that roster. That's got to be a significant blow to their team.
Yeah, and guess who had him in fantasy? I did, because of course I did. Everything bad that can happen happens to my fantasy team. So Derek Lively, I'm sorry, but I really don't think that Derek Lively was like, I don't know why this term is in my head today. I don't think he was a needle mover for the Mavericks roster. Whether he's in or whether he's out, I don't think that he really changes much. Maybe he can give maybe he'll have one good game and steal you one good win, but I don't think that even with Anthony Davis out, he just like when Anthony Davis was out, he wasn't doing anything like extra special. He wasn't really picking up the slack. He was just kind of playing his role no matter what the situation was.
Yeah, but that being said, like he plays a significant role, and although like you're right, his numbers are down this year. He hasn't been a needle mover by any means, but I don't know. I just think that like his size and the way he plays, like he's a good rebounder. He's really good rim protector. Like I like Derek Lively. Obviously, the points don't jump off the page. I just looked it up. He's only averaging 4 points per game this season, so he's not necessarily going to impact winning on the offensive end, but I feel like his impact on the defensive end is maybe something that you'll notice with him out of the lineup.
Yeah, but I think I would be curious to look into this ever since Anthony Davis made his way over to the Mavericks. But I think that his role has almost been completely diminished by that because
Oh, for sure.
Gafford was playing really well. Last year he was on that streak where he went like 5 games without missing a shot or something, like something ridiculous like that. They have Gafford. They have Anthony Davis. I mean, Cooper Flag, he's not really a big, but he can kind of slot in there and go small, and that just takes even more of Derek Lively's minutes away. So I think that it's actually not going to be as big of a hole to fill per se. And they've already been without him the whole season anyway. But
Hmm.
like, I don't think they're going to miss him. They're not on the uptick at all anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
If they're a contending team, maybe this is a different conversation. But
Yeah, I agree. Like they're well, actually, I didn't even realize that they were in the play-in right now. I thought the Timber or the Trailblazers were ahead of them, but I guess somehow the Mavs are ahead of the Trailblazers. Same record, same games played, so it must be head to head or something like that. But yeah, I just don't see them having a successful year, regardless of whether Derek Lively's in or out of the lineup. They need health from Anthony Davis. They need Cooper Flag to come into his own, and so I think this is just like a transitioning year for them, um, for sure. So you're right; it's not the end of the world that Derek Lively's going down, and maybe that's why he's doing this surgery to like. There's no need for him to play through any kind of discomfort or pain
yeah,
if they're not going to be contending for anything.
no, yeah, that's true. And that actually hadn't really crossed my mind. But now that you say it out loud, it's very logical. Like, obviously the Mavericks, I don't think, as you said, I don't think I'm breaking any news here either. I don't think that the Mavericks are going to win the NBA championship unless you see like a 2019 St. Louis Blues run out of them.
Yeah.
But that I don't see that happening in a basketball. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It does make sense. It's similar. I kind of think about like Scottie Pippen, how Scottie Pippen didn't want to get that surgery over the summer. He wanted to enjoy his summer, and then he waited till
Yeah.
the season started and it pissed off Michael Jordan. So maybe it's like something similar along those lines, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't think it's that extent. I think Scotty had some issues back in the day. But yeah, we'll shift over the NBA. So this I think this was last week, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. The NBA fined the Cleveland Cavaliers $250,000 for not paying or playing Darius Garland in a nationally televised game. Rather, they played him in a non-nationally televised game instead, and so they got a significant fine for their franchise. I just want to know your opinion on this because obviously there's been a lot of discussion about load management and players sitting out back to backs, things like that. I honestly, I kind of like this move from the NBA. I understand, like, you're nationally televising a Cavs game, you want their best players in the lineup. So if they're just going to have Darius Garland sit out for load management, slap him with a fine. I agree with this move.
I got one word: good. I think that there's a like the Kawhi Raptors started this problem. I mean, it worked out for us in favor, but had I known the trickle down effect, then I wouldn't have been so happy about it. But it, the load management has just gotten so ridiculous, and obviously this is like a almost a tired storyline. But I was watching a video, I think it was this week, might have been last week, about basically like trainers and like sports scientists and stuff. They're trying to outsmart the human body, and by giving all this rest, and now injuries are on an uptick, but our science is getting better. I mean, first of all, I think the NBA players are a little soft. That's just my own opinion. You don't have to agree with me. That's just how I think. I'm a hockey player, like that's obvious. But the way that you condition your body is by continuously playing something, continuously doing something every day. If you take full days off, yes, you're letting your body recover, but you're not going to maintain that level of conditioning by taking these like days off. So at first, I kind of thought I was on like the train. I've talked about this before, how the human body might not be designed to play basketball, which maybe I think there's some truth to. But ever since I watched that video, it's been stuck in my brain. Like maybe this like load management, like BS, like all these extra rest days and stuff, is actually what's causing this uptick in injuries.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm no doctor, no science guy. There's a reason why my profession is in broadcast journalism and sports journalism. It's because I'm not the most scientific mind. But yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, I don't have to agree, or whoever's listening doesn't have to agree with the fact that you think NBA players are soft. We're both the hockey guys. Like you play through anything. I've played through some horrible injuries,
Yeah,
and that was just for junior hockey.
yeah,
Like I I don't get the taking rest days, and I understand it from a standpoint. If you want to take a practice off, you're a little bit banged up, like we see in the NFL. You see in the NFL, guys take Wednesday run walkthroughs off. They take
yeah.
Thursday practice off, but then by Sunday they're good to go, and they're playing through these crazy injuries. I don't know if you watch Receiver on Netflix, but Amon-Ra St. Brown was playing with like some something tore off the bone. I think it was like a muscle or something. I can't remember, but tore off the bone. And he's playing through that. He wasn't practicing, but he's playing through it. And so, like, I don't expect anyone to do something like that. Like, I think that's an unfair expectation to have. But I think you have to play a little bit banged up.
Yeah. Well, even you look at the Blue Jays, like the playoff run, like George Springer, like that guy was probably, I'm sure the injury report came out. I haven't seen it, but he was probably playing through some crazy injuries. Like that fastball he took off the knee, his back was messed up. Like he could barely run and he's still toughing it out. Even Bo Bichette with like a sprained ACL that he was playing through. Like it was crazy. What do you hear about guys playing through in the NBA? Oh, they turned their ankle and they were so brave because they kept playing. Like you think about like a hockey, like a playoff run in hockey when that injury report comes out after a team gets eliminated. Like wow, I think it was some player on the Sharks. I want to say it was Logan Couture. Was playing through a torn Achilles. This would have been in 2012, like a long time ago.
I remember that Sharks team. I think Joe Thornton was playing through a separated shoulder as well.
Yeah, like it was ridiculous. One of the craziest injury reports I've ever read. But when an NBA team gets eliminated, you don't need a new injury report because those guys are already sitting out. And then I guarantee you someone's listening to this going, yeah, well, Halliburton tore his Achilles by playing through something. Fair point. But at what point does like playing through an injury, like the rewards of it outweigh the risks? Like, I don't know. The way I see it, these guys are getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars. You turned your ankle, get over it, man. If you can walk, you can play. I don't know.
Well, I think we see in the playoffs, players in the NBA tend to play through more injuries and things like that. Like I remember Giannis on their finals run. He was it his leg, I think it was.
I can't remember exactly.
He had a pretty significant injury that he played through, and it looked like it was hard for him to play through that. But and then, I mean, we talked about the Raptors. Like Kevin Durant in that final series came back probably a little bit too early and ended up tearing his Achilles again, right? So I think come playoff time we see that a little bit more. But during the regular season, every other league, these guys are playing through crazy injuries during the regular season. And in the NBA, guys are just taking nights off just because they don't feel like playing games.
Justin Herbert broke his arm and he still played through it. What's his face? Daniel Jones. I mean, that guy was playing through so much, and then unfortunately he popped his Achilles. But that's obviously that's football. But you look at the NBA, LeBron James skipping games to go watch Ohio State in the college football playoff, to go watch the Dodgers in the World Series. It's the only sport where you're allowed to like take a game off and not go to the rink or like, the arena, I guess. Like I don't see that in any other sport. You don't see someone injured like not like with a day-to-day injury and they're elsewhere. It's weird. It's I don't understand it, to be honest.
Yeah, for a home game, definitely not. Like I think for away games, you'll see like guys won't travel with the team if they're not expected to be able to play during that road trip. But yeah, for a home game, like you got to be there for your teammates. You got in the other leagues, you got guys sitting up in the press box, right? And in the NBA, sometimes guys will show up wearing just street clothes, sitting on the bench. But
Yeah,
I find it's not very common.
not very professional, I think.
No, I
The
agree.
NBA, I think they're the worst at it, worst at handling it. They a bunch of divas in the NBA, personally.
Yeah, maybe we sound like boomers though.
I don't care. It's the
Play through
truth. It's the truth.
play through everything.
I don't know. There's just no sacrifice. Like these guys just not all of them, because obviously, as I said, Hallie, there are guys who will sacrifice, but there's just like in an overall sense, there's a complete lack of sacrifice in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Let's get into our last thing. We talked about Giannis a lot last week. That was kind of the main thing for our episode, but obviously the rumors are still swirling, and we didn't actually talk about the Miami Heat too much, and they seem to have become the number one destination for a Giannis trade. I guess I've seen the rumors of what could go back. It's like Tyler Hero, Kalel Ware, and a bunch of picks and things like that. However, the picks work out. But do you see that as being a good fit alongside Bam Adebayo? And just do you think that would be a good move for the Milwaukee Bucks to make?
It's difficult because I think that the current Miami Heat roster is perfectly formulated for a star to just come into and then just be a complete dominant force right away as a team. But the problem is that once you start taking guys away from that way that they're built, then you start to open up weaknesses. Like the return of Tyler Hero and Kalel Ware, it, if you can limit it to that and some picks, I think that that would be a great move for Miami, depending obviously on how many picks you give. You don't want to end up like the Clippers. But just if you have to give up more, I don't know if it's worth it. Like I think that you can get a lower tier star in Miami and have an absolutely dominant team.
Yeah, and I honestly like if I were the Heat, obviously Hero would need to be the piece, but I would do everything I could to keep Hero around. I would be more willing to move Bam for a guy like Giannis.
Yeah, in that situation, you're trading offense for defense pretty much, and I think that like a team of Bam and Giannis perfectly fits Heat culture in my opinion. Just defense, grit and grind, stuff like that. Whereas if you trade Bam for Giannis and then you have like the other guys still around, I don't know if that team necessarily fits so much into Heat culture. Obviously, Bam is going to be like a more valuable asset in return, so you can keep around the other guys. But I think that Bam is like too critical to part ways with if you're Miami.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I just think like you want to keep shooters around Giannis, right? And I don't know how the spacing really works with Bam. Like they're both more interior guys.
I mean, they still have Duncan Robinson, I believe, right?
Yeah, but Duncan Robinson sucks, man.
He can shoot though. Let's not get this twisted here. Duncan Robinson is a great shooter. He
He's
shoots
with the
no.
Pistons now.
Oh my god, I'm an idiot.
I forgot he
Actually,
was
I
with the
actually
Pistons.
I know he's an irrelevant player. Let's be honest. Who even are the Heat shooters then? If you get rid of if
Jaime Jaquez.
yeah, does he? He's not really shoot. I mean, they have Norm, Jovic, Kasperi Yakisonis. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. Getting Wiggins,
This is the thing. I look at their lineup and I'm like, bam. So if you moved Hero and Ware for Giannis, your starting lineup is probably what? Bam, Giannis, Wiggins,
Norm.
Norm, and
I
Davion
don't.
Mitchell.
I don't know if you could hold on to Davion Mitchell though. That's the thing. Who's going to be their guard? This. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like looking at this, like obviously when I'm talking about like the way that the Heat are formulated, I'm talking about Norm, I'm talking about Bam, I'm talking about Wiggins. The if you can keep those guys together, and obviously Tyler Hero, but in this world, Tyler Hero's going the other way. Norm can shoot, like,
Yeah,
but the problem is that if he's going to be, you're going to need Giannis to initiate a lot of the offense to free up Norm to be a shooter. But if you part ways with Tyler Hero and somehow manage to hold on to Davion Mitchell, maybe it would work out. But Davion can't shoot. We know that.
yeah,
And Amy Hawkes, Fontecchino, they can kind of shoot, I guess. They're not like snipers, I would say.
no,
Yakasonis, I wouldn't say is a sniper, but I don't know. I don't think that, honestly, I think that Miami should kind of pivot. I don't think they should go after Giannis. I don't think it's the smartest move for them, as I was saying, because they have to give up too much. The lower tier star, though, I think that they should pursue.
yeah. I would agree with that. I do agree. Like with what you're saying about their defense. Like if they bring in Giannis for Tyler Hero, that defense is pretty elite. Like
Oh yeah,
Davion Mitchell is an unbelievable on-ball defender at the guard position, and then Wiggins is a good defender. Giannis, Bam. Like I think they would be a menace to play against defensively, but I don't know if they could outscore other teams just because of their shooting woes that we just talked about without Tyler Hero in their lineup.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It would be an interesting team, to say the least. It's almost like they should target a guy like Jimmy Butler.
yeah. Or LaMelo Ball.
I, to be honest, like a Lamelo Ball could fit in on that team. Melo and Bam, that would actually be a very good like duo,
Yeah,
or
I
even
think
a
so
Trey
too.
Young. I think.
Yeah, Trey Young would be a better fit than LaMelo, I think. But yeah, and then you'd have Davion coming off the bench and being that shutdown guy off the bench like he was for the Raptors a few seasons ago. He was actually really good. Like I liked Davion a lot. I was upset that the Raptors decided to move on from him.
I thought they completely undervalued him in that when they moved on from him too. Like I feel like they could have got way more, or they could have just let him develop a little more. Like you could see it,
Yeah,
and for some reason they just parted ways with him.
yeah, 100%. Well, do you want to get into the NBA Cup now?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's get into this awesome tournament.
Yeah, so we've got a couple semifinal matchups here. Obviously, the San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder are playing tomorrow. We're recording this on Friday, so yeah, they're playing tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be releasing this, probably later this evening. So it will still be tomorrow when this is up. And then you've got the New York Knicks and the Orlando Magic taking on one another also tomorrow. I guess just have you really paid attention to the NBA Cup at all? I didn't realize it was semifinal time.
The only reason I knew it was semifinal time is because of what I said earlier, where this fantasy week shouldn't count because there's no games this week. When I was looking at this week's fantasy, I'm like, why the hell are there no games this week? Like, what's going on here? And then I text the group chat. I'm like, is there like some kind of break that I don't know about? And shout out Steven again, back to back weeks for shout out Steven.
Hey, I
Uh,
told you he's not allowed to get a shout out after that video he sent to the chat.
My bad, my bad. Unshout out Steven. No, I'm just kidding. But he was like, "Oh, NBA Cup," and then I was like, "Oh, the NBA Cup's almost over. We're already in the playoffs." So I don't know. Pay attention. I paid attention to the games, but I haven't known that like a lot of them are in the context of the NBA Cup.
Yeah, I watched the Raptors game the other night when they took on the Knicks, and that I realized it was the quarterfinals then. So that was kind of my that was when I realized that this was actually still going on. But yeah, I guess who do you see coming out of this? Like, do you think OKC wins it? But before you answer, I do want to say with how dominant OKC has been, they obviously only have one loss. Uh, do they use the final game of the NBA Cup to rest some of their guys? Because that's the one game that doesn't actually count toward regular season standings.
I would say yes, but if you watch Starting Five, you know that Shea is like that's just not how Shea operates, and I think he would be a little upset. And they lost the NBA Cup final last year. I think that is something that he wants to go after and he wants to win, which is why I'm picking OKC to win the NBA Cup. I think they'll get over that Spurs team. Yes, Wemby's coming back as we talked about earlier, but I just think that he's just not going to be in rhythm. The team isn't going to be operating on all cylinders. If they're on all cylinders, I think that'd be a great game. I think that would be a great 7 game series if everyone's healthy. Uh, but I just think that Shea is just too petty. Like that's why he's so good. He has the mindset of like I'm a winner, and he's kind of the anti of everything we were complaining about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like he does sacrifice for his team, and he's also very, 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 very good at basketball. Like ridiculously good at basketball. But yeah, I don't think they would rest. I think they would consider it though.
Yeah, that's just like something that came into my mind as I was doing notes for this segment. I was like, I wonder if because this game doesn't actually really count towards anything other than the $1 million that they get, and for a guy like Shea, he's making what $70 million a year. Who cares about $1 million?
Yeah, what a
Um,
sentence, by the way.
yeah, seriously. I mean, if he wants to donate it to the Ball Don't Lie podcast, then feel
Yo,
free.
yo, Shay, you think I could hold like 100 grand, maybe an M stack? Just let me know, bro. I'm
We could get
Canadian
you.
too.
We could get you an actual mic.
Yeah, not my AirPods.
But yeah, like I just thought maybe I could see that happening. Obviously, for the semifinal matchup, that one still counts toward the regular season, and we are going to get into the OKC Thunder. But I do think that becoming the record holder for most wins in a regular season is something that has probably crept into their minds and is probably important to them. Like you said, Shea is a winner and he cares about winning. So I'm sure if they could go 82-0, they would do it. Any team would, but I do think that they're especially going to be pushing for that record of 73-9 that the Golden State Warriors hold. Um, so yeah, I just wondered if maybe they use that finals as a rest day for them. But
If they
um,
won it last year, I think they would consider it.
yeah, that's fair. Who from the East though? Who do you think the Thunder are going to be matching up with? Obviously, you got the Magic and the Knicks. The Knicks looked unbelievable in that Raptors game in the quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah,
Cat just dominated. So did Jalen Brunson. Um, and Franz Wagner's not going to be playing. I I have the Knicks personally.
yeah. The Knicks, they're coming to their own, and they're coming into like their full, what's the word? Full potential, I guess that you could say. Like Josh Hart obviously was injured. He's been playing unbelievable. OG is starting to get like back to himself. Jalen Brunson's very good. Cat's very good. I mean, that team is just very good. I think we're going to get the finals of what I hoped to see last year, which was the Knicks versus OKC. I think the Knicks are the best team in the East. I think OKC is the best team in the West. I hope we see that finals this year. Personally, I just love that New York crowd. I wish that they would have the same kind of energy for the NBA Cup, but as every fan does, no one does. No one cares, to be honest, as I've said like 8 times now. But yeah, I think that OKC Knicks, and I think OKC takes it.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Yeah, I'm excited to see that matchup. I think that would be a great finals matchup as well for the actual NBA finals. But Yeah, I think it would be cool to see a preview of that in the NBA Cup final. Okay, let's get into the Oklahoma City Thunder. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this, but I just wanted to ask you a few questions. So I saw something today. I think it was Boogie Cousins talking about OKC being a small market team and how that limits Shea's brand potential. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, well, first we might as well change our name to the OKC Glaze cast because we spent this entire podcast glazing OKC and probably a lot of the last one too. But does them being in a small market limit like Shea's marketability? Was that the question?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it does in a, but Shea is kind of an anomaly because he's Canadian. So I think that it limits him in America. It limits it like because the NBA sucks at marketing. I don't understand it either because the NFL is so good at putting every team on the same pedestal, but the NBA for some reason they just can't do it. I don't know why. I'm not like a marketing major or anything, so I don't know. But with Shea being Canadian, it really helps him and it helps him be kind of an international star. Because I would actually argue that the ESPN itself isn't terrible at marketing Shea. They're just terrible at marketing OKC as a whole. They're doing a better job than normal, I would say, because right now OKC is on this ridiculous start. But last year they never really talked about him. They talked about Shea because of his NBA campaign, but they didn't really talk about J Dub. They didn't really talk about Chet. They didn't really talk about Lou Dort. They didn't really talk about Casey Wallace. Like they don't talk about all the other guys. And I don't know. I do think that it harms Shea's marketability to an extent, but like I was saying, I think Shea is just an anomaly because he's Canadian.
yeah, and that's one thing that I was gonna talk about too. Like the fact that he's Canadian, I feel like the NBA has a hard time marketing their international players in general as well. Obviously, they have had LeBron as kind of the face of the league for the last 20 years or so. But like Nikola Jokic, he doesn't like being in the spotlight. I understand that, but he's been the best player in the NBA for the last 5 years, maybe longer than that.
Yeah, five or
Giannis,
6 years.
Giannis is up there as well, and they obviously talk about these players a lot, but I just feel like you get more narratives towards guys like Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, even now, and LeBron James still is just the main focus for the NBA's marketing team. Like LeBron's not having a great year right now, and he's barely playing. It's
Oh,
time to move on to someone else, and your best players are international players. Grow the game. I think that's a perfect opportunity to grow the game, and I feel like every sport talks about wanting to grow to international pedigree and have all these eyes on it. There's 8 billion people in the world, and they want to have all these different eyes on it from all over the world. That's a perfect way to do it.
yeah. I'm not disagreeing with what you say at all because I agree like 95% of what you said. But I saw a tweet yesterday and it said Zach Edey is fumbling a generational bag by claiming Canada and not China. Because imagine how big of a star he'd be in China. And they do kind of market. They're decent at marketing international stars, but only in the international market, not in the entire market itself.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting really into like marketing talk for some reason. But I have just noticed that like you go if you were famous in China, you are famous in China. Like it's ridiculous. This is really random, but the King Handles, if some of you guys might know him, he was my safe schools liaison when I went to high school. He would just pretty much show up and chill with us, make sure that no one was doing like bad things. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to China tomorrow." Like this guy will show us videos of him in China. He is famous in China. He can walk around the streets here, no problem. I don't know. Like it's just weird how they just tend to market them only in the city, or not the city, the country of origin.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it is weird, but the next thing I wanted to ask you is Shea going back to back MVPs?
Uh, hmm, I don't know. I think he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a thing saying that like he has his second highest points per minute in NBA history at this moment, which is insane. Maybe that's the fire department to put out his hot shooting. No, but he's developed a 3-pointer, and I think I might have talked about this. I don't know, but develop a 3-pointer. Like, how do you stop him now? What you take him off, you make him pick up the ball, he's gonna put it in the net. You close out on a shot, he's gonna get around you. Okay, you somehow make him pass out. Okay, well now he had 8 assists. So honestly, I think Jokic deserves the MVP, but I think Shea's going to get it.
Do you? Because I just wonder about voter fatigue. Like, there's been multiple years where Jokic has deserved it, and the fact that he's won, what, three now? He might never win it again because, or at least not for the next year or so, because they want to give it to someone else. I mean, Luka is another name that he's leading the league in points per game right now with 35,
I think
and he's
ESPN will
never won one.
pedal. ESPN's going to pedal Luca for MVP, and they're going to pedal that and push that just because he's the biggest star in the biggest market.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think it goes Luca at 3, Jokic at 2, Shea at 1. But I think that Jokic and Shea swap. I think Jokic deserves it the most. But I don't think he's going to get it based upon the voter fatigue. And then we'll start to see next year voter fatigue start to hit Shea.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair. Give him back to back and then move somewhere else. But yeah, you're right. I really think that the talk is going to be a lot of Luka talk this year. Just like you said, given the fact that he's in the largest market in LA, playing for the Lakers, one of the most storied franchises in the NBA, and he is having a dominant season and an unbelievable year, like an NBA or an MVP caliber year. But yeah, I'm not sure if they'll make the right decision here and give it to Shea, or if they'll look elsewhere. But just to cap things off on the OKC Thunder, we talked about it a little bit, but do you think this team's actually going to break Golden State's record?
Yes, I do. And I honestly think they might shatter it. I wouldn't be surprised if the hot take. This might be a hot take. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they have less than 5 losses this season. And I think the reasoning one, Shea developed like a 3-pointer, which is crazy. J Dub and Chet, you said this earlier. You accidentally said that OKC is a team on the come up. I didn't correct you because I was waiting for this. OKC is a team on the come up because Shea is the only guy on that team in his prime right now. And these J Dub, Chet, Jalen Williams, Cason Wallace, even Lou Dort, they're all going to get better. Lou Dort is probably closer to his prime than the other guys. AJ Mitchell, like they just keep having random guys pop up out of nowhere. So I think they're going to break the record this year, and if they somehow manage to hold on to everyone again for a third straight year, I think they might even break that record again.
Yeah, it feels like I'm simulating with salary cap off, and I just built this juggernaut team. Like, that's what Oklahoma City feels like.
Yeah, the 82-0 challenge that everyone has done at least once, I'd assume. I've done it. It's like your first year you go like 66 and whatever. And then the next year you go like 70-12. And then the year after that you go like 74 and what would it be? I'm not a math guy. 74 and 8. Then the year after that you go like 80-2, and then you're like 81 and 1, 81 and 1, and then you maybe finally go 82 and 0, and then you have to like blow up the team pretty much. But
Yeah.
it feels like that. And I was actually going to make that exact same point, but I was like, I don't know. I'm not going to make that point for some reason. But then you made the point. So I'm curious how many other people feel like this.
Yeah, it's just been crazy to see. Like, I literally, obviously they have a loss on the year, but I I just look at the state of the NBA right now and look at every other team in the league, and I just don't see a team that can compete with them.
Yeah. And it's ruining Giannis's trade market. People don't want to trade for Giannis because they still think that they won't be good enough to beat OKC, which is
Yeah,
insane. And guess what, guys? OKC is going to have the #1 overall pick this year, and they're not going anywhere. Like,
yeah,
imagine being one of those top 3 guys and just praying because I think the Hawks have is it the Hawks have the Pelicans pick this year?
yeah,
So what if if that's the top 3, and 2 of the guys are going to be praying to go to Atlanta and OKC, and then the one guy's going to get screwed over and stuck in Washington or Utah? Like that would just be hilarious.
Would you be praying to go to OKC though? Like, you're going to have a very limited role upon entry to the NBA.
I think it would depend on who I am. If I'm Darren Peterson, then I think yes, I'm praying to go to OKC because I can learn from Shea, and they don't really have us like solidified two guard. They
Yeah, that's fair.
if I'm a guy like Cam Boozer, I'm not praying, or even AJ Devansta, I'm not praying to go to OKC though, because they're both bigs, and what are they better than Chet? Probably not. Are they better than J Dub? Probably not. Are they better than Isaiah Hartenstein? Probably not. I think that AJ Devansta is the most like adaptable out of those two. They could probably fit in, but I don't think Cam Boozer could even carve out a role.
Yeah.
But which is ridiculous. Like what? How is this team getting the first overall pick? They don't need it. They should just
Yeah.
take it away.
They take it away for the Clippers tampering.
Yeah. Kawhi goes back to the Raptors.
Let's cap things off here. Let's get into our Canadian Hooper highlight. We talked about how there weren't many NBA games this week, so I just wanted to highlight a college basketball player, Dylan Grant at Rutgers University. He's having a great season. Rutgers is not, but Dylan Grant is having a good year. 15 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, shooting 43.5% from three and 50% from the field. Obviously, Rutgers off to a slow start. They're 5-5, coming off good couple years. I mean, they weren't great last year either with the top two picks on their roster, but they're still a good school, and it's just good to see a Canadian being a premier player on that team.
Yeah, the Scarlet Knights let me down last year, and they're letting me down this year. No, if I'm being honest, I'm not a Scarlet Knights fan. I just wanted to see them in March Madness last year. Now, I'm an honest guy. I don't tell a lie. I'm not familiar with his game. I haven't actually seen any of his game, but it is exciting to hear a Canadian doing well in the NCAA.
Yeah, and as I was doing some research, like I was looking at different players, and he's really one of the only Canadians that's putting up like really good numbers within a college program that is at least in like a tough conference. Like there are a few other guys that came across my page, some guys that I am very familiar with. I'm sure you're familiar with too, like Elias Ralph. He played at the University of Victoria. Now he's playing at Pacific University. He's having a good season, but Pacific's just not a very good school. And then, what's his name? Now I'm blanking on his name. Played at UBC last year.
Adam Olson.
Yes, Adam Olson. Thank you. Yeah, Adam Olson. He's at South Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, and he's having a good year. His first year in NCAA, as I said, playing at the University of British Columbia last year. But he's putting up 16 points per game. Like it's just good to see some of these, specifically some of these U Sport guys, go play really well at the U Sport level, and then make the jump to the NCAA and continue to put up good numbers. Like I think it goes to show how good, like U Sports is slept on. Like we've talked about U Sports a bit in the past, and the CEBL. Like I think all these Canadian leagues are just really slept on. But then it's just great to see some of these guys make that jump from U Sport level or from the CEBL and go play college or professional basketball in other leagues and put up similar numbers. And it just goes to show how competitive these leagues actually are.
Yeah, I mean, and while we're on the topic, like you look at a guy like Dorian Glogovac. He was in St. George's last year. One of the craziest provincials runs I've ever seen. Like I don't know how many of our viewers are watching BC provincial basketball, but those two shots he hit against Spectrum in the finals. I was at a Canucks game, and we were watching his intermission. I was watching with my buddy Connor, and we are like, "Oh my god!" And then he did it again. I'm like, "Oh my god!" But he's in D3 right now. He's at Caltech. He's leading all freshmen in D3 in scoring, and he's a true freshman too. He's averaging 21.9 points per game, which is, as a true freshman playing Division 3 basketball, I think that is pretty unbelievable. And especially at an academic school like Caltech, where the classes are not easy. It's impressive, and Canadian talent is definitely on the come up. BC talent is definitely on the come up as well.
Yeah, Adam Olson's a guy that's from BC. Dorian, as you mentioned, having a great year. I mean, we've seen in the past some other guys, Jermaine Haley, comes to mind. Played at Burnaby South Secondary. He played, I think, at West Virginia. He bounced around a little bit, but he's a good player at the Division One level. And then obviously, I mean, do you consider Brandon Clark a BC guy?
I wouldn't necessarily call him a BC product, but I would consider Kelly Olynyk a BC product.
Yeah, Kelly Olynyk is definitely, that was the next name I was going to bring up. But
But yeah, there's so many. Like even on the Bandits last year, Grant Shepard, like crazy. Diego Mafia, like he had 91 points in a high school game. Unfortunately, tore his ACL in his last season, but still, like just so much talent on the come up, and it's only getting better too. I coach a grade 8 basketball team right now. When I was in grade 8, the average score was in like 30s or 40s. My grade 8 team, we're going to be, but we're not yet one of the best teams in the province, and we're averaging 65 points a game. Like it's crazy. Other teams can score at that rate too. Like the offensive talent is getting good. The defensive talent, no, that still needs some work. But it's it's. I'm excited for the future. In the next 10 years, I think that BC will be one of the hot spots for basketball prospects.
yeah, I'm really excited to see just Canada in general, and we're going to get a couple guests on our show that play in some Canadian college basketball. Obviously, we want to get your brother on, but Jesse, I mean, who knows if we'll ever
It's
get him
too
on?
big time for us. I don't know.
Yeah, seriously. But we'll also. I've been talking to my buddy Sergio, who just won a national championship with the University of Victoria last year. He said, I texted him the other day. I said, "Hey, we've got a podcast and um, we want to have you on as a guest at some time." And he said, "Okay, sounds good." So I think
at
that means
least
he'll
at
come
least
on.
someone's not big timing us.
Yeah, seriously.
And he
Um,
played U Sport, Jesse.
yeah, and won a natty.
Yeah,
Jesse played U Sport.
that's true. He'll be at U Sport next year if his grades let him.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we'll definitely get some of those guests on. Just like continue to highlight the Canadian game, and when the CEBL comes back around, I'm sure we'll do a lot of talk about the CEBL and that league. I mean, it's an exciting league. Like
Oh yeah, the
you've
target
been
score
around
is
it.
is unbelievable. Like there was a game this year. It was like the Bandits and I think they were playing Scarborough. The Bandits were a powerhouse. Scarborough not a powerhouse, but it was a close game. And I've been to a lot of games in LEC, but when the Bandits Zach Copeland hit a 3 pointer target score winner, it was on Canada Day. That was the loudest crowd pop I've heard in pretty much any building. Like the games are exciting, man. Like you got to check out a CEBL game. We're not sponsored unless they want to sponsor us. But go check us out a CEBL game. It's unbelievable basketball. The talent is crazy. Like guys like Mitch Creek play for the Vancouver Bandits. Do your research on Mitch Creek. That guy's an unbelievable hooper.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's like Taze. What's his name? Taze Moore.
Yeah,
Yeah, played in
he
the
was
NBA and then came to the
came.
Bandits.
Yeah, and I'm blanking on someone. I mean, Cat Barber, really good. Ahmed Hill, really good. Like, there's so much talent. So much. Jalen Harris was playing for the Saskatchewan Rattlers, like former Raptor, and he played like a decent role on a Raptors team back in the day. And he's still really nasty. Like there's so much talent. It's insane. And they put like Canadian hoopers on a pedestal too.
Well, and another name, like, do you remember Trayvon Duval at IMG Academy?
Yeah,
He played in the CEBL as well. Now he's with
it,
the Milwaukee Bucks, and
I actually didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, he played in 2021, I believe. Let me look. I'll fact
COVID
check
year.
that. Yeah, 2021 for Hamilton.
Yeah, and I started paying attention to the Bandits around 2022. So that was when like the CBL came into mind. Obviously, I have a bit of a connection to the Bandits now, but it's still like it's a great league and go out and support it. Like it's I don't think there's better basketball unless you drive. If you're Canadian, unless you're driving a few hours over the border, unless you live in Toronto, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, I would 100% agree with that. Even U Sports, like we went to the U Sports National Championships last year, and those games were intense and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah, it's ethical basketball, unlike some of the unethical stuff we watch in the NBA.
yeah, there's no there's no load management in those leagues.
Yeah, no foul baiting as much.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can wrap things up there. Thank you for listening. Be sure to check out some of our other videos on our YouTube channel. We've got a few other shows. Recently, the Bench and the Bleachers, our baseball show, did an interview with a Division One baseball commit. It was a great interview. So be sure to check that out. Check out the Film Grinders, our football show, my other hockey show in the slot, and just make sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And thank you for listening to Ball Don't Lie.